She takes her opportunity. Alexandra Eala, she reeled off the opening set in double quick time. Fair play, Magdalena Frech. She came back, took that second set 6-3.
Put the phone down. Actually, don't. Turn it up. Because what just happened on Pietrangeli Court at the Italian Open deserves every second of your attention. And if you blink, you'll miss exactly why this match changes everything. So 3-6-4, Alexandra. Eala, Philippines, Rome, May 6th, 2026. Write that down. Tattoo it somewhere. Because the girl they said couldn't hack it on clay just walked into one of the most sacred venues in all of tennis and dismantled a former world number 22 in what might be the most psychologically loaded victory of her entire career. This wasn't just a win. This was a reckoning. Let me set the scene, because the scoreline alone doesn't do it justice. 3 consecutive clay tournaments. 3 consecutive losses. Stuttgart, gone. Madrid, demolished 6-2, 6-1 by Mira Andreeva in a match so one-sided it felt like a public execution. The headlines were practically writing themselves. Eala is a hard-court player. Clay is her ceiling. She doesn't have the game for this surface. The doubters had data. They had evidence. They had momentum. And then she walked on to Pietrangeli and bageled Magdalena Frech in the opening set. 6 games, 0. 35 minutes. Done. Let that land for a second. Against a player who has beaten top 10 names on hard courts. Against a 2-decade veteran who has held a WTA title, cracked the world top 22, and seen everything this sport has to throw at her. Alexandra Eala won 6 consecutive games without surrendering a single one. She didn't just take the first set. She took it like it already belonged to her. 6 breaks of serve across the match. A 68% win rate on second serve. 82 total points to Frech's 75. Every single meaningful stat tilted her way. But here's the number that matters most. Here's the one the Eala army needs to burn into their memory. Percent on second serve. You remember Linz? You remember the Ostapenko match? That suffocating loss where every second serve Eala hit came back at her like a missile. 0% conversion, 0 points, 0 answers. That 0% was the wound she carried onto the plane. That was the thing that kept her up at night. That was the problem she handed to the Rafa Nadal Academy coaches in Mallorca and said, "Fix this." They fixed it. 68% today. Higher than her own first serve win rate. Higher than Frech's first serve win rate. The shot that had been her greatest liability on clay became the shot that anchored this entire match. 1 week of work. 1 week of drilling, adjusting, rebuilding, and the first real test she faced against a battle-tested veteran on red clay? She cashed in 2/3 of every second serve point she played. That's not progress. That's transformation. Now, look, I have to be honest with you about the second set, because champions don't always make it look clean. Frech is a professional. Veterans don't stay buried. They adjust. She started loading her first serve with more precision, found her backhand corners, and began attacking Eala's toss earlier on return. The momentum that had felt so absolute in the first set started shifting. The crowd felt it. The score reflected it. 6-3, Frech match level, and right there, that moment, right between the second and third sets, that's where this story gets interesting, because dropping a set after winning the first 6 love is a very specific kind of test. It asks you a question that only certain players can answer. Are you here for the highlight, or are you here for the match? Fragile players fold. They start chasing the comfort of the first set instead of focusing on the next point. They hesitate. They second-guess. Eala sat down, sipped her water, took a breath, and walked back out looking like someone who had been waiting for a third set her entire life. She broke early, held. The score climbed. 2-1, 3-2, 4-3. Frech pushed back. Every step of the way. Neither player was going quietly. The Pietrangeli Court. Those ancient marble statues standing watch the way they've stood watch over nearly a century of Italian tennis history. They'd seen this kind of pressure before. And then 5-4, Eala serving for the match. The court went quiet. 15th million Filipinos around the world held their breath, and Alexandra Eala served it out. Advanced to the round of 64. Next up, Wang Xinyu of China. The same Wang Xinyu who beat her in Auckland back in January, 7-5, 6-4, a three-set heartbreaker Eala has been carrying for 4 months. The rematch is set, the slate is clean, and the player walking into that match is not the player who left Auckland with a loss. She is what Mallorca built her to be, beyond Wang. Elena Rybakina. World number 2. Reigning Australian Open champion. If Eala gets there, that's a measuring stick match. That's a statement match. That's the kind of match that defines what kind of player you actually are. But none of that matters unless she takes care of Wang first. And none of Wang matters unless she won today. She won today. Roland Garros begins May 18th. 12 days. 12 days for Eala to keep building what she started today. Rhythm, confidence, clay court muscle memory forged in real match pressure at a real WTA 1000 event. Every clay court win between now and Paris is a deposit. And today, on Pietrangeli, against a former top 22 veteran who had every reason to believe she could outlast a 20-year-old Filipina with a shaky clay record, Eala made the biggest deposit of her entire 2026 European campaign. Her clay record. Walking into Rome, 14 wins, 23 losses. Every doubter knew that number. Every headline referenced it. It was the anchor dragging her narrative underwater. Today, she started rewriting it. Here's what I want you to really sit with, because this is the thing that makes this victory feel genuinely different from everything else she's done this year. The Auckland wins, the Indian Wells run, the Dubai results, all of it happened on hard court. On the surface, where her left-handed serve bends most viciously, where her flat backhand screams through the court without clay slowing it down, where her movement requires no sliding, where every weapon in her game operates at full power. Hard court. Eala has been one of the most compelling stories in women's tennis in 2026. Clay Eala was still being written. Until today, she hadn't produced a signature win on red dirt against quality opposition all season. 3 tournaments, 3 early exits. The establishment had decided clay was her ceiling, the surface where the story of Alexandra Eala would have a footnote instead of a chapter. Today, she didn't just add a chapter. She changed the genre. She walked onto the most iconic clay court in Italy. She faced a veteran with experience, ranking pedigree, and the home surface advantage that clay gives to grinders. She won in 3 sets. She broke 6 times. She converted 68% of her second serve points, and the marble statues that have watched legends pass through Pietrangeli for nearly 100 years added a new name to their silent record. Alexandra Eala, Philippines, May 6, 2026. Clay is not her. Ceiling clay is just another canvas. Wang is next. Rybakina waits beyond. Roland Garros opens in 12 days. And the girl they said couldn't win on clay just made the entire WTA Tour take notice on the most beautiful court in all of Italian tennis. Terranova, Eala Army. Rome belongs to us. Drop the Philippine flag in the comments. Tell me where you were when she served out that 3rd set. Tell me what went through your mind during that bagel. The algorithm needs to know what happened on Pietrangeli today. 115 million Filipinos around the world are celebrating. And they should be. Because the clay court Eala they always knew existed. She just showed up.